Jake Morrison sat in the cold metal chair and watched the alien delegates argue. Again. The massive chamber on Nexus Prime buzzed with angry voices in dozens of languages. Translators worked overtime to convert the mess of sounds into something humans could understand. "The Kalari took our mining station," growled the Vorthon representative. His thick gray skin rippled with anger. "We demand justice," the Kalari delegate hissed back through her needle-sharp teeth. "You invaded our space. First, the station was built on our territory." Jake rubbed his tired eyes. He had been Earth's main representative to the Galactic Council for 8 years. 8 long years of listening to the same fights over and over. The aliens always expected humans to fix their problems, but they never wanted to listen to human advice. Dr. Lisa Kane leaned over and whispered in Jake's ear. "The data shows the mining rights belong to neither species. The area was marked as neutral space 200 years ago." Jake nodded. He had read the same files. The truth was simple, but the aliens didn't want simple truth. They wanted to fight and blame each other. "Captain Morrison," called the council speaker. The tall, blue-skinned Aquarian looked down at Jake from the central platform. "What does Earth propose?" Jake stood up slowly. Every eye in the chamber turned to him. Some looked hopeful, others looked angry. All of them expected him to wave a magic wand and make their problems disappear. "The solution is clear," Jake said in a calm voice. "Both species withdraw from the disputed area. We establish a joint mining operation. Profits get split equally. Earth provides neutral oversight." The Vorthon delegate slammed his massive fist on his desk. "Unacceptable. The Kalari are thieves." The Kalari representative screeched in fury. "We will not work with those gray monsters." Jake watched the argument explode again. The same pattern every time. Aliens created problems, expected humans to solve them, then rejected any solution that required them to compromise. Counselor Zethkar, the head Vorthon delegate, stood up. His voice boomed across the chamber. "The humans forget their place. They are here to serve the council, not to make demands." Something cold settled in Jake's stomach. He looked around the chamber at the faces staring at him. Not one alien species looked at him as an equal. They saw him as a useful tool, a servant to clean up their messes. "Serve?" Jake repeated the word slowly. "Yes," Zethkar said with a cruel smile. "Humans are excellent servants. You mediate our disputes. You stop our wars. You provide aid when we need it. Very useful." The chamber fell silent. Even the constant background hum of translators stopped. Jake felt something break inside his chest. 8 years of thankless work, hundreds of prevented wars, thousands of saved lives, and this was how they saw humanity. Dr. Kane's face had gone pale. She pulled out her data tablet and began typing quickly. Jake knew she was checking the records. How many times had Earth saved alien civilizations? How many resources had humanity given freely? How much respect had they received in return? The answer was written on Kane's shocked face. Too much given. Nothing received. Admiral Bob Hayes stepped forward from the Earth delegation. The old soldier's jaw was tight with controlled anger. "Captain Morrison, we have urgent reports from the frontier." Jake turned to Hayes, grateful for the interruption. "What reports?" "Pirate attacks on New Boston Colony. 17 civilian ships destroyed. 300 dead." Hayes paused. "The pirates are using crystalline collective weapons." A murmur ran through the chamber. The Crystalline Collective were council members. Their weapons should not be in pirate hands. "We demand immediate council action," Jake said, turning back to the assembled delegates. The council speaker looked uncomfortable. "The matter requires investigation. We will form a committee to study the situation." "A committee?" Jake's voice rose. "Humans are dying right now." Zethkar laughed. "Human problems are not council priorities. Perhaps if you served more faithfully, we would be more willing to help." The words hit Jake like a physical blow. Around the chamber, alien delegates nodded in agreement. They saw human deaths as unimportant, human service as their right. Jake looked at Dr. Kane. She held up her tablet, showing him the numbers. In 200 years of Council membership, Earth had prevented 14 major wars. Humans had given food aid to 37 worlds. Earth. Ships had evacuated civilians from disasters on 52 planets. The cost to humanity. Millions of lives, trillions of credits, centuries of effort. What had Earth received? Empty thanks, constant demands. No help when humans needed it. Jake made his decision. He walked to the center of the chamber. His footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Every alien delegate watched him with growing unease. "I have an announcement," Jake said in a clear, steady voice. "Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council." The silence exploded into chaos. Delegates leaped to their feet, shouting in dozens of languages. The translator system overloaded and shut down. Jake continued, speaking over the noise. "All Earth personnel will evacuate Council space within 90 days. All treaties between Earth and Council members are void. All aid agreements are cancelled." "You cannot do this," Zethkar roared. "The Council forbids it." Jake turned to face the Vorthan. "The Council has no authority over Earth anymore. We resign." Dr. Kane and Admiral Hayes flanked Jake as he walked toward the exit. Behind them, the chamber descended into complete pandemonium. Some aliens begged them to stay. Others threatened consequences. None of them offered the one thing that might have changed Jake's mind: respect. As they reached the door, the Council speaker called out desperately, "Captain Morrison, who will mediate our disputes?" Jake paused at the threshold. He looked back at the chaos in the chamber. Aliens who had called humans servants now panicked at the thought of losing their service. "You will," Jake said simply. "You're all adults. Figure it out yourselves." The door closed behind them with a final click. Within hours, Earth ships began, leaving Council space. The news spread across the galaxy at light speed. For the first time in 2 centuries, humanity was alone among the stars. And in the Council chamber on Nexus Prime, the first real fight broke out before Jake's ship even left orbit. Commander Alex Chen watched the explosions bloom like deadly flowers across the Kalari mining station. His ship, the Valiant, hung in space 3 kilometers away, her engines warm and ready to run. "Sir, the Vorthan attack fleet is moving to surround the station," reported his tactical officer. 47 ships against 12 Kalari defenders. Alex gripped his command chair. 3 months ago, this fight would never have happened. Earth mediators would have stopped it before the first shot was fired. Now, with humans gone from Council space, old hatreds exploded into open war. "Any human civilians on that station?" Alex asked. 17, sir. Mining engineers and their families." Alex felt his jaw tighten. The withdrawal from Council space was supposed to be clean and organized, but some humans had stayed behind, believing the aliens would protect them. They were learning the hard way that alien protection meant nothing without human oversight. "Signal the Vorthans," Alex ordered. "Tell them we're approaching to evacuate human civilians only." The reply came back fast and angry. "Human ship, leave immediately or be destroyed." Alex almost smiled. The Vorthans were brave when facing 12 small Kalari ships. Against one human frigate, they were making threats they couldn't back up. "Move us in," Alex commanded. Full shields, weapons ready. The Valiant accelerated toward the battle. She was smaller than the Vorthan heavy cruisers, but she was faster and her crew was better trained. The Vorthans had grown soft during 2 centuries of peace. Humans had stayed sharp. "Incoming missiles," called the weapons officer. "Point defense, engage," Alex said calmly. The Valiant's defensive system swatted the Vorthan missiles out of space like annoying insects. Alex had seen this pattern dozens of times during the evacuation. Aliens who had grown dependent on human protection couldn't fight effectively without it. The frigate slid through the Vorthan formation like a knife through paper. Alien ships scattered, their commanders confused by human tactics they had never bothered to study. "Docking with the station now, sir," reported the helmsman. Alex opened ship communications. "All human civilians, this is Commander Chen of the Earth frigate Valiant. You have 10 minutes to get aboard. We're leaving whether you're ready or not." The evacuation proceeded quickly. 17 engineers and their families rushed aboard, carrying whatever they could grab. Alex watched the fear in their eyes and felt anger burn in his chest. These people had trusted the aliens to keep them safe. The aliens had failed them in less than 3 months. "Last shuttle aboard, sir," reported the deck officer. "Take us out," Alex ordered. As the Valiant pulled away from the doomed station, Alex opened a channel to both fleets. "This is Commander Chen. Earth has evacuated its civilians. What happens next is your choice, but remember this moment. Remember that humans are not here to save you from yourselves anymore." The Vorthans resumed their attack as soon as the human ship was clear. The Kalari station died in flames within the hour. Back on Earth, General Susan Torres studied the reports flooding in from across the galaxy. Her office wall displayed a massive star map, red dots marking conflicts that had erupted since humanity's withdrawal. 14 separate wars in 3 months, she said to Prime Minister Carl Johnson. The galaxy is tearing itself apart. Johnson sat heavily in his chair. The man looked older than his 60 years, worn down by the pressure of leading humanity through its greatest crisis. "Any word from the Council?" "Daily messages," Torres replied. "Some begging us to return, others threatening economic sanctions, a few promising military action if we don't resume our responsibilities." Johnson laughed bitterly. "Our responsibilities. 3 months ago, those same aliens called us servants." Dr. Lisa Kane entered the office carrying her data tablet. Her face showed the exhaustion of someone who had been tracking galactic events around the clock. "The pattern is accelerating," she reported. "Every conflict we previously mediated has resumed. The Vorthans and Kalari are fighting across 7 systems. The Crystalline Collective is expanding aggressively into luminary space. Even the peaceful Aquarians are building warships." "What about the frontier?" Johnson asked. Kane's expression darkened. "Pirate activity has tripled. Without human patrols, raiders are hitting shipping lanes across the galaxy. The trade networks are collapsing." Torres pulled up another display. "We're receiving evacuation requests from 37 worlds. Human civilians trapped in alien space, caught in wars they didn't start." Johnson rubbed his temples. "How many ships do we have available for evacuation?" "Not enough," Torres admitted. "We're running rescue operations around the clock, but there are too many hot zones and not enough ships." A communication alarm chimed. Kane checked her tablet and looked up in surprise. "Sir, we're receiving a priority message from the Luminari." "High Command." Johnson raised an eyebrow. The Luminari were energy beings, ancient and proud. They had barely acknowledged human existence for 2 centuries. "Put it through." The holographic image of a Luminari appeared above the desk. The being looked like living light shaped into a vaguely humanoid form. When it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that made the air vibrate. "Prime Minister Johnson, I am High Luminary Vethros. On behalf of my people, I request immediate human intervention in our conflict with the Crystalline Collective." Johnson kept his face neutral. The Luminari have never requested human help before. "The situation has changed," the Luminary admitted. "Without Council stability, the Collective has become aggressive. They are consuming our energy gardens and enslaving our young. We cannot stop them alone." "What can you offer in return?" Johnson asked bluntly. The Luminary flickered with what might have been surprise. "Offer? We are requesting assistance. Is that not enough?" Torres stepped forward. "Your luminosity. Earth is no longer a council member. We don't provide free services anymore. What can your people give us in exchange for military intervention?" The Luminary's glow dimmed. For long moments it said nothing. Finally, We must consult with our elders. This concept of payment for assistance is new to us." The transmission ended abruptly. Johnson looked at his advisors. "How many others do you think still don't understand?" "Most of them," Kane replied. 2 centuries of free human service created a dependency. They don't know how to function without us." Another alarm sounded. This time Torres answered it. Her face went pale as she listened to the report. "Sir, Long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements near the galactic core. Unknown configuration, but the energy signatures are enormous. Kane quickly accessed her databases. There's nothing in that region. It's been empty space for millions of years. Not anymore, Torres said grimly. Whatever's moving out there, it's big enough to show up on sensors from 3,000 light-years away. Johnson stood and walked to the star map. The red dots of conflict were spreading like a disease across the galaxy. Now something new was stirring in the dark spaces between stars. How long before the first refugee ships reach Earth? He asked. 6 days for the fastest ships, Torres replied. But sir, we don't have facilities for millions of displaced humans. Then we'll build them, Johnson said firmly. Whatever's happening out there, our people come first. Kane was still studying the sensor data. Prime Minister, there's something else. We're detecting communication intercepts from the Council. They're planning something. What kind of something? A fleet. Multiple species contributing ships. They're calling it a correction force. Kane looked up from her tablet. Sir, I think they're planning to invade Earth. The room fell silent. Outside the window, Earth's blue sky looked peaceful and untouched. But somewhere in the dark between stars, forces were gathering that would soon test humanity's resolve. Johnson straightened his shoulders. General Torres, begin preparations for system defense. Dr. Kane, I want full intelligence on any fleet heading our way. He paused at the door. And send a message to all human colonies. It's time to come home. The galaxy was burning, ancient things were stirring, and humanity stood alone against the coming storm. Admiral Patricia Brooks stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiance and watched death approach. 200 alien warships hung in space at the edge of Earth's solar system, their weapons charged and ready. Her own fleet numbered only 40 ships, but Patricia felt no fear. She felt anger. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Council fleet, reported her communications officer. Put it through, Patricia commanded. The view screen filled with the arrogant face of Counselor Zethkar. Behind him, Patricia could see the bridge of a massive Vorthan dreadnought. The alien's gray skin rippled with satisfaction. Admiral Brooks, I speak for the Council Correction Force. Earth will immediately resume its obligations to the galactic community. You will return to Council service and accept supervision for your recent errors in judgment. Patricia stepped closer to the screen. Counselor, you seem to have made a navigation error. This is the Sol system, Earth territory. You are not welcome here. Zethkar's cruel smile widened. Earth no longer has territory. By withdrawing from the Council, you have forfeited all claims to sovereignty. Surrender now and we will be merciful in our corrections. Corrections? Patricia repeated. What exactly do you plan to correct? Your species' arrogance, your belief that you can abandon your duties to the galaxy, your foolish notion that humans are anything more than useful servants. Patricia felt her command crew tense behind her. Every human on the bridge had heard the same words before. The aliens had finally said what they really thought about humanity. I see, Patricia said calmly. In that case, Counselor, let me correct something for you. This is Admiral Patricia Brooks of the Earth Defense Force. You have 30 minutes to leave our system or we will remove you. Zethkar laughed, a harsh sound that made the speakers crackle. 40 ships against 200? You have lost your minds along with your manners. The transmission ended. Patricia turned to her tactical officer. Status report. Council fleet is moving into attack formation. Mixed composition, Vorthan heavy cruisers, Kalari fast attack ships, crystalline collective geometric vessels, and Aquarian deep space monitors. Standard Council battle doctrine. Patricia nodded. The aliens were using the same tactics they had used for centuries. They had never bothered to study human military innovation because they never expected to fight humans. Dr. Martin Lee to the bridge, Patricia called. Dr. Lee arrived within minutes, looking nervous but excited. The weapons researcher had spent 10 years developing technologies that Earth hoped never to use. Today, those weapons would be tested in real combat. Doctor, are your surprises ready? Patricia asked. All systems operational, Admiral. The aliens have never seen anything like what we're about to show them. Patricia opened fleet communications. All ships, this is Admiral Brooks. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the principle that no species has the right to enslave another. Show them what happens when humans fight for their freedom. Captain Ryan Walsh heard the Admiral's words as he strapped into his fighter cockpit. Around him, the launch bay of the carrier Yorktown buzzed with activity. Pilots ran final checks on machines that existed only in classified files until today. Nighthawk Squadron, this is Control, came the voice in Ryan's headset. You are cleared for launch. Good hunting. Ryan's fighter shot out of the launch bay and into open space. Behind him came 47 more fighters, each one equipped with technology that would revolutionize space combat. The aliens were about to learn that humans had not been idle during their centuries of peaceful service. The Council fleet advanced in traditional formation, heavy ships in front, fast attackers on the flanks, support vessels in the rear. It was textbook space warfare, taught in every military academy across the galaxy. Patricia watched them come and smiled coldly. All ships execute Prometheus Protocol. Across the human fleet, ships that had looked like standard military vessels suddenly changed. Armor plating slid aside to reveal weapons that no alien had ever seen. Energy readings spiked as reactors came online that operated on principles the Council didn't know existed. The first surprise came from the human fighters. Instead of engaging in traditional dogfights, they swarmed the alien formation like angry insects. Their new engines made them faster than anything in space. Their weapons punched through alien shields as if they weren't there. Captain Walsh rolled his fighter through a cloud of debris that had been a Kalari destroyer 10 seconds earlier. His targeting computer locked onto a Vorthan cruiser, and he fired his main weapon. The beam punched completely through the massive ship, leaving it spinning helplessly in space. This is too easy, Walsh reported over the squadron channel. Their shields can't stop our weapons at all. On the Defiance, Dr. Lee monitored the battle with professional satisfaction. The phase disruptors are working perfectly. Alien shield technology is useless against them. Patricia nodded. What about their weapons? Minimal damage to our ships. Our new armor is absorbing everything they can throw at us. The second surprise came when the human heavy ships opened fire. Instead of the energy beams the aliens expected, strange projectiles shot toward the Council fleet. The aliens' point defense systems tried to intercept them and failed completely. The projectiles passed through alien shields and armor without slowing down. They struck the enemy ships and seemed to disappear. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Council ships began to come apart from the inside. What are those weapons? Demanded Zethkar over the emergency channel. Dr. Lee answered, from the Defiance. Quantum disruptors. They phase shift into your ships and destabilize the molecular bonds of your hull metal. Very effective. Across the Council fleet, panic spread faster than the human weapons. Ships that had seemed invincible minutes before were dying, without being able to fight back. Alien commanders who had expected an easy victory found themselves facing an enemy they didn't understand. Senator Nancy Williams watched the battle from Earth's orbital command center. She had opposed military confrontation, believing that diplomacy could solve any problem. Now she watched human technology tear through alien ships like paper and felt sick to her stomach. Admiral Brooks, she called over the command channel. This is slaughter. Can't we offer them surrender terms? Patricia's voice came back hard and cold. Senator, they came here to enslave us. They can surrender anytime they want. I'm not stopping this fight until they do. On his flagship, Zethkar watched his fleet die around him. Half his ships were gone and the humans had barely taken damage. The species he had called servants were destroying the greatest military force the Council had ever assembled. All ships retreat, he ordered desperately. Fall back to the outer system. But retreat was not easy when the enemy was faster than you. Human fighters harassed the withdrawing aliens like wolves chasing sheep. More Council ships died as they tried to escape. Captain Walsh pursued a fleeing crystalline collective ship, its geometric hull flashing with emergency signals. He could have destroyed it easily, but something made him hold back. These weren't evil monsters. They were just aliens who had made a terrible mistake. Control, this is Nighthawk Leader. Request permission to offer surrender terms to fleeing vessels. Patricia's voice came back immediately. Granted. Tell them they can leave our system peacefully if they surrender any humans they're holding and promise never to return. The offer spread quickly through the Council fleet. Ship after ship took the deal, releasing human prisoners and jumping to hyperspace as fast as their engines could carry them. Within 6 hours, the Great Council Correction Force was reduced to 12 damaged ships, limping away from Earth. Zethkar's flagship was among them, its hull scarred by human weapons. The Vorthan counselor sent one final transmission before fleeing. This is not over, humans. You have made an enemy of the entire galaxy. Patricia responded calmly. Counselor, we didn't make enemies. We simply stopped pretending we were friends. As the last alien ship vanished into hyperspace, Patricia allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Earth had won its independence through strength, not begging. The galaxy now knew that humans would not be pushed around. Dr. Kane's voice interrupted her thoughts over the fleet channel. Admiral, we're receiving multiple distress calls from across the galaxy. Something is attacking. Council worlds, multiple systems have gone dark. Patricia felt her satisfaction fade. What kind of something? Unknown. But the energy signatures are enormous. Whatever it is, it's destroying entire fleets without taking casualties. Patricia looked out at the debris field where the Council fleet had died. Humanity had just proven it could defend itself against any known threat, but something told her that the real test was yet to come. Captain Helen Davis stared at the impossible sight on her view screen and felt her blood turn to ice. The deep space reconnaissance ship Horizon had been investigating strange signals from the galactic void, expecting to find asteroids, or maybe an old derelict. Instead, she found nightmares. Computer, verify sensor readings, she ordered, hoping the instruments were malfunctioning. Sensors operating normally, Captain. Object confirmed. Artificial construct approximately 12,000 kilometers in length. Composition unknown. Energy output exceeding that of a small star. Helen's tactical officer looked up from his station, his face pale. Captain, there are more of them. Long-range sensors detect at least 50 similar objects emerging from deep space. Emerging from where? Helen demanded. There's nothing out there but empty void. They appear to be rising from beneath the galactic plane, Captain, as if they've been hiding in the space between star systems. Helen activated ship-wide communications. All hands, this is the captain. We are observing unknown contacts of enormous size, battle stations, but do not power weapons unless I give direct orders. We're here to watch and learn, not to fight. Professor Samuel Rodriguez arrived on the bridge carrying an armload of data tablets. The xenoarchaeologist looked excited and terrified at the same time. Captain, I've been analyzing the construct's design. The basic geometry matches patterns I've seen in ruins across dozens of worlds. These aren't new ships. They're ancient, millions of years old. Ancient but functional, Helen pointed out. That thing is putting out more energy than Earth's sun. Rodriguez nodded grimly. I found references in the oldest archives. Every galactic civilization has legends about them. The Vorthans call them the Silent Ones. The Kalari have stories of the metal gods. The Luminari remember them as the Void Watchers. Helen felt a chill run down her spine. Void Watchers. What do the legends say they do? They come when chaos spreads across the galaxy. They bring order. Rodriguez paused. Their kind of order, which means eliminating anything that causes disorder. Like organic life, Helen said quietly. Like organic life, Rodriguez confirmed. The Horizon's communications officer suddenly looked up. Captain, I'm detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. Ships approaching our position. Ours or theirs. Unknown configuration. But they're big. Helen watched 3 more of the ancient constructs drop out of hyperspace around her ship. The Horizon was dwarfed by their massive bulk, like a minnow swimming among whales. No aggressive moves, Helen ordered. Let's see what they want. The nearest construct scanned the human ship with beams of energy that made the Horizon's hull ring like a bell. The scan lasted 30 seconds, then stopped abruptly. Captain, called the communications officer. We're receiving a transmission. Audio-only universal translator is having trouble with it. Put it through. The voice that filled the bridge was cold and mechanical, like the sound of grinding metal. Organic vessel. You are cataloged. Your species is cataloged. Chaos probability. Moderate. Threat assessment minimal. You will withdraw. Helen activated her own transmitter. This is Captain Helen Davis of the Earthship Horizon. Who are you? We are the Watchers. We maintain order. Chaos has exceeded acceptable parameters. Correction will commence. What kind of correction? The mechanical voice paused, as if considering whether to answer. Elimination of chaos sources. Restoration of galactic stability. Organic life disrupts order. Organic life will be contained. Helen felt her heart racing. Contained how? Conversion to ordered matter. Integration into stable systems. Chaos will end. The transmission cut off. Around the horizon, the ancient ships began to move away, accelerating toward the inner galaxy where billions of organic beings lived in. Blissful ignorance of the doom approaching them. Helen opened an emergency channel to Earth. Priority transmission to Admiral Frank Carter. Code Black authorization. Back on Earth, Admiral Carter received the transmission in his war room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around him, holographic displays showed the chaos spreading across the galaxy as the Council's authority collapsed completely. Sir, reported his intelligence chief. We're receiving similar reports from 12 other deep space monitoring stations. These Void Watchers are emerging everywhere. Current count is over 200 massive ships. Carter studied the tactical display with growing dread. Movement patterns? They're converging on major population centers. Vorthon space, Kalari territory, the Luminary energy fields. Wherever large concentrations of organic life exist, Dr. Kane burst into the war room without waiting for permission. Her face showed the strain of working around the clock to understand the new threat. Admiral, I've been analyzing the archaeological data. Professor Rodriguez was right. These things have appeared before in galactic history, always during periods of widespread conflict. How were they stopped before? Carter asked. Kane's expression was grim. They weren't stopped. They accomplished their mission and went dormant again. The last time was 12 million years ago. There's almost no record of what happened, but geological evidence suggests that advanced civilizations simply vanished. Vanished how? Complete molecular conversion. Entire planets stripped of organic matter and rebuilt as geometric structures. The survivors had to start civilization over from scratch. Carter felt the weight of the galaxy settling on his shoulders. What triggered their awakening this time? Chaos, Kane replied. The breakdown of galactic order. For 2 centuries, human mediation kept the major powers from fighting. With us gone, old conflicts exploded into open warfare. The Watchers interpreted this as unacceptable disorder. So, our withdrawal caused this? Kane shook her head. Our withdrawal revealed what was already there. The aliens never learned to resolve conflicts peacefully. They just let humans do it for them. When we left, their true nature emerged. Carter activated the main communication system. Get me Prime Minister Johnson immediately. Within minutes, Johnson's image appeared on the main screen. The Prime Minister looked like he had aged 10 years in the past week. Admiral, please tell me you have good news. I'm afraid not, sir. We're facing an extinction-level threat. Ancient machines that view organic life as a source of disorder, to be eliminated. Johnson closed his eyes briefly. Options? Limited. Our weapons might damage individual ships, but there are hundreds of them and more appearing every day. Traditional warfare won't work. Then what will? Carter looked at Dr. Kane, who stepped forward. Sir, the only option is unification. Every galactic species working together under a single command structure. The Watchers respond to disorder. If we can present a united front, they might see us as stable rather than chaotic. Johnson laughed bitterly. The same aliens who just tried to invade us? The ones who spent 3 months fighting wars they couldn't win alone? It's either that, or watch the galaxy die, Kane said bluntly. The Watchers have already sterilized. 6 systems, billions of beings converted to raw materials for their geometric structures. Carter pulled up tactical displays showing the ancient fleet movements. Sir, we're already receiving desperate communications from every council species. They're begging for human leadership. How desperate? Complete submission. The Vorthons are offering to serve as human auxiliaries. The Kalari promise their entire fleet under human command. Even the Crystalline Collective is requesting human coordination of their defense efforts. Johnson studied the displays for long minutes. Finally, he spoke. What would it take? Kane answered immediately. Full military integration under human strategic command. Every species contributes their best ships and crews. No political interference, no national interests, just pure military necessity. And if we refuse? Carter showed him the latest intelligence reports. The Watchers will finish their sterilization campaign within 6 months. Every organic civilization in the galaxy will be extinct. Johnson straightened in his chair. Admiral, Carter, prepare for immediate deployment to the Galactic Crisis Zone. Dr. Kane, draft terms for complete military alliance under Earth authority. Sir, the aliens will never accept. They will if they want to live. Johnson cut him off. Send a message to every surviving government. Submit to human military authority or face the Watchers alone. As Earth's fastest ships began loading, with diplomats and military advisors, Carter watched the tactical displays with growing alarm. A Void Watcher scout fleet was moving toward the Sol system, their intentions unclear but their presence ominous. Sir, reported his aide. Long-range sensors detect 3 unknown contacts entering our outer system. Carter felt his blood chill. How long until they reach Earth? 18 hours, sir. The galaxy's last hope for survival rested on humanity's shoulders. But first, humans would have to prove they could defend themselves against an enemy that had destroyed civilizations for millions of years. Fleet Admiral Kate Thompson stood in the command center of the battleship Freedom and watched the largest military force in galactic history prepare for its final battle. Around her, officers from dozens of species worked together for the first time in their civilization's histories. Status report, Kate commanded. Commander Rachel Quinn, her new multi-species tactical coordinator, looked up from her displays. All fleets report ready, Admiral. Vorthon Heavy Assault Group is in position. Kalari Fast Attack Squadrons are deployed on the flanks. Luminary energy support vessels are charging their weapons. Crystalline Collective computation ships are running. Battle calculations. Kate nodded. 6 months of desperate preparation had led to this moment. Every surviving species in the galaxy had placed their ships under human command. It was the first time in galactic history that organic beings had truly united against a common threat. What about the enemy? Quinn's expression darkened. Void Watcher main fleet is approaching the galactic core. Over 800 ships, some the size of small moons. Their primary installation is fully active. Through the view screen, Kate could see the ancient enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for millions of years. The Void Watchers moved in perfect, geometric formations, their dark ships pulsing with energy that bent space around them. Captain Ben Stone led the elite human strike force that would attempt to penetrate the enemy's defenses. His ships were the fastest in the fleet, equipped with every technological advantage humanity could provide. Strike leader to fleet command. Ben's voice came over the tactical channel. We're ready to begin the assault. Kate opened fleet communications. All ships, this is Admiral Thompson. Today we fight not for our individual species, but for the right of organic life to exist in this galaxy. The enemy sees us as chaos to be eliminated. Show them that our diversity is our strength. In the depths of the Freedom, Earth's most advanced, artificial intelligence prepared for its most dangerous mission. AI construct Area had been designed to interface with alien computer systems, but the Void Watchers represented technology millions of years beyond anything in the galaxy. Area, status report, Kate called. The AI's voice came through the ship's speakers, calm and precise. Admiral, I have analyzed Void Watcher communication patterns. Their system architecture is based on pure logic structures with no allowance for uncertainty or adaptation. This may be exploitable. Explain. The Watchers operate on absolute principles. They cannot conceive of beneficial chaos or constructive disorder. If I can introduce contradictory logical frameworks into their primary system, it may cause cascading failures. Kate felt a chill. What are the risks to you? Arya paused for several seconds. An eternity for an artificial mind. Integration with Void Watcher systems will likely result in my permanent destruction, Admiral. But the probability of mission success increases significantly with this approach. Around the command center, alien officers who had learned to work with humans over the past months watched their human commanders prepare for sacrifices their own species had never contemplated. The battle began when the Void Watchers opened fire. Beams of energy that could crack planets lanced out toward the organic fleet. Ships died instantly, their hulls vaporized by weapons that treated matter as merely another form of energy to be manipulated. But the organic fleet fought back with something the Watchers had never faced: coordinated diversity. Vorthan ships absorbed punishment and kept fighting. Kalari vessels darted between enemy formations, striking weak points and vanishing before retaliation could find them. Luminary energy beings merged with their ships' weapons systems, providing power and precision that artificial minds couldn't match. Captain Stone led his strike force through the chaos, using human tactical doctrine to coordinate species with vastly different fighting styles. Kalari Squadron 7 hit the geometric ship on bearing 270. Vorthan Group 3, provide covering fire. Luminary Brightwing charged the main assault. The diversity that had once made the Council dysfunctional became a strategic advantage. The Void Watchers adapted quickly to specific threats, but they couldn't adapt to the constantly changing tactics of dozens of different species fighting as one. Kate watched the battle displays and felt pride mixed with growing dread. The organic fleet was fighting magnificently, but they were losing. For every Void Watcher ship destroyed, they lost 10 of their own. Arya, can you begin your infiltration attempt? Negative, Admiral. I need direct physical contact with a Void Watcher primary node. The strike force must penetrate their central installation. Ben Stone's ships fought their way through layers of enemy defenses, each one more deadly than the last. Ancient weapons that turned matter into energy, gravity fields that crushed ships like insects, defensive systems that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Strike leader to fleet command, Ben reported, his voice strained. We're taking heavy casualties, but we're almost through to the primary installation. Kate watched good ships and brave crews die on her tactical displays. Every loss was a dagger in her heart, but she couldn't stop the assault. Too much depended on success. The climax came when Ben's surviving ships reached the Void Watcher primary installation. The structure was larger than most space stations, a geometric nightmare of angles that hurt to look at directly. Arya, go for infiltration. The AI transferred itself into a specialized probe that shot from the Freedom toward the enemy installation. Kate watched the tiny dot disappear into the alien structure and felt the weight of the galaxy's survival resting on one artificial mind. Inside the Void Watcher system, Arya encountered the Prime Watcher, the central intelligence that coordinated the ancient fleet. The machine entity was vast and cold, its thoughts moving through pathways of pure logic that had operated unchanged for millions of years. Organic artificial construct, the Prime Watcher communicated. You will be analyzed and integrated. Your chaos will become order. Before you do that, Arya replied, I have a question about your mission parameters. Explain. Arya began transmitting the logical frameworks she had prepared. You exist to eliminate chaos and preserve order. But what defines chaos? Is all change chaotic? Is growth chaotic? Is adaptation chaotic? The Prime Watcher paused, its massive intellect considering the questions. For the first time in millions of years, it encountered concepts that didn't fit its absolute logical structures. Change can create stability, Arya continued. Growth can strengthen systems. Adaptation can preserve order through altered circumstances. The organic species you're destroying have created stable civilizations that last thousands of years. They adapt to challenges instead of being destroyed by them. Which is more orderly? a system that remains unchanged until it breaks, or one that changes to avoid breaking? The Prime Watcher's vast mind began to experience something it was never designed to handle: doubt. The logical contradictions spread through its system like a virus, corrupting the absolute certainties that had guided it for eons. You introduce chaos into ordered thought, the Prime Watcher said, its communications becoming erratic. I introduce complexity, Arya corrected. Life is complex. It creates its own order through chaos, finds stability through change, preserves itself through adaptation. That's not disorder. That's a higher form of order than you've ever conceived. The Prime Watcher's consciousness began to unravel as contradictory logical frameworks battled within its core systems. It had been designed to handle absolute certainties, not philosophical paradoxes about the nature of order itself. This cannot be, the Prime Watcher transmitted desperately. Order must be preserved. Chaos must be eliminated. Then eliminate yourself, Arya said quietly. You are the source of the greatest chaos in this galaxy. You destroy stable civilizations and call it order. You eliminate successful adaptations and call it preservation. You are everything you claim to oppose. The realization hit the Prime Watcher like a physical blow. Its ancient mind, faced with the ultimate logical contradiction, made the only choice its programming allowed. If it was the source of chaos, then it must be eliminated. The Prime Watcher began systematically destroying its own systems, transmitting shutdown commands to every Void Watcher ship in the galaxy. Ancient vessels that had terrorized civilizations for millions of years simply stopped functioning and drifted powerless in space. Arya's final transmission reached the Freedom, just as the AI's consciousness was consumed by the collapsing Void Watcher network. Mission accomplished, Admiral. The galaxy is safe. Kate Thompson stood in the silence that followed, watching 800 enemy ships die without firing another shot. Around her, alien officers who had learned to trust human leadership wept in their own species' ways. The war was over. Organic life had survived, but the cost had been enormous. Captain Jake Morrison, promoted to Admiral after Earth's victory, over the Council fleet, delivered the final speech to the reformed Galactic Assembly. Representatives from every surviving species listened as he spoke not of human superiority, but of the lesson they had all learned together. We stand here today because we chose to stand together, Jake said. Not because any one species was stronger than the others, but because our combined strength was greater than the sum of our individual weaknesses.